Hey guys, today we are going to be speaking with Erica Robinson from Erica Lillie Productions, and I am going to wait for her to hop in, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the wedding industry. I see her, she just came onto the room, and she can send me a request, and I'll bring her on up. There we go. And she should be here any second. If anyone has questions throughout this, make sure to leave it in the comments, and I'll be sure to ask Erica. Hey, how's it going?
Hi. Quarantine. How are you?
Same. Just sitting around in my studio, it works.
Oh, I like it. I love the green screen. I love the look.
Thank you. I have like my classy ring light and everything.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring you on today so that we can talk a little bit about what's going on in the midst of the coronavirus and what has at least your experience been being in the wedding industry and kind of the for lack of a better word, halt that we have now gotten thrown at us. So tell everyone before we get into that a little bit about what you do, where you're located, and yeah, we'll go from there.
So, I'm located over in Atlantic Highlands, and I'm actually currently in Jackson because I was by myself in Atlantic Highlands, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to be with family right now. So I'm a wedding photographer and videographer, and also a film teacher at a high school. So this whole digital shift, social distancing thing, quarantine thing has been like a huge, huge change for me in every sense of the way.
Yeah, so let's start talking. I had to fix my framing,
Oh, it's beautiful. It's perfect. I'm like, is
you.
this right? I don't.
You're good. So let's talk a little bit about the process of what you went through when all of the news started coming out about, hey, basically we're canceling March and April, and we don't know what's happening in the future. I know I was in Florida, and I started getting emails of like, oh, we don't know if we can do this event, or we don't know if this is going to last until this point. And I know a lot of people are changing the dates of a lot of their events, their weddings. For in my case, a lot of the conventions I was supposed to work. Yep. So how was that for you?
So when I first heard about this whole Corona thing, I panicked. And everyone else was telling me, like, it's not a big deal. It's not going to affect us. And so I initially went into panic mode. And I thought that my school was going to get shut down for at least 2 weeks. And I was waiting for it. We got the call, and I was like, oh, my God, that means that now. And honestly, I was so disconnected. I was so focused on school, I didn't even think about, oh, my God, weddings. And then I went into panic mode. And it had to be the middle of March, when everything went down, that I was like, oh my God, these weddings, how far out are we going to start canceling? And I've had April, May, and June all push back their weddings. So my next wedding is in July now. And the venues were actually, some of the couples took it upon themselves to be like, all right, let's be cautious. Let's go and move our date back, because they saw this early. I had one couple, and they're awesome. Their wedding is in June. And I think they were the first ones to reach out to me, actually. And they said, hey, just because everything going on, we're going to push this back to August. Absolutely cool with me. Some of my other couples, the venues actually canceled their dates on them. So it's kind of like a mix between the couples wanting to cancel and then the venues wanting to cancel. And some couples didn't want to. They wanted to wait. And even though they wanted to wait, the venue is like, no. We're all the May, all April's gone. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had a couple of people reschedule their weddings on me as well, which weddings isn't my forefront. It's not my main gig. So in terms of covering the date, it's not going to be so much of a problem for me. But what's going on with you? Because I know that you're doing this weekly. You're a very sought out and booked company. So how are you handling that?
So initially, I reached out to all my couples that have weddings in April and May, and I told them that if there is basically something that's going to affect your date, then I'm here to support you. I'm going to try my best to accommodate all the dates. So far, I have been able to accommodate every date. thank God. And also with like payments and everything, because people are out of work right now, I said that if you need to basically push back your payment at any point, then let's do it, because I don't want them to be uncomfortable. And like, I'm also a teacher, so I'm still getting a salary from that. So I can afford right now to have some payments be pushed back. So I basically reached out to them, and now I'm just trying to accommodate. And I've had everything from, I have a Thursday wedding in the summertime now. I have a Thursday wedding in the fall. I have August 28th and 30th, and I don't book double weekends anymore because it's way too much for me. So I stick to one wedding per weekend. And then that was the point where I was like, I need to change right now the rest of my year, because if I don't do double weekends, I'm not going to be able to accommodate for these couples. So I kind of put my views to the side, and I was like, I need to take care of these people right now because I feel awful. Oh my gosh, I feel so awful. Like, imagine, I had one bride, they've been planning their wedding for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
4 years ago, they booked me. Yeah. And now they have to push it back. They were going to have an April 25th. Now it's pushed back to May of 2021.
Oh, wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone wants their wedding in the spring, I guess that's what has to happen right now. Yeah. I know that on my part, a bunch of Long Island companies have been reaching out to me, and I guess the way that they're also handling this is reaching out to other freelancers in the area to help accommodate those extra bookings now. Yeah. So that's one thing I've seen a bunch of. I've been reached out by, I think, 3 or 4 videography companies that are similar to yours, where a lot of them, believe it or not, are husband-wife teams, which is great, which is awesome.
Oh, I love that.
But they were like, we want someone that like will shoot this and have the kind of care that we bring to our weddings, which I know is something that you care a lot about your couples, which clearly is shown by you saying, hey, we can defer payment, we can wait, and things along those lines. But yeah, it's definitely a crazy situation. And like, I know how much goes into like the wedding day and how much planning these people go through. I know, especially with a lot of the couples that you work with, you also keep in touch with them for a long time before the wedding and get all of the pictures of all of the family members and things along those lines. So like, just having that whole experience come to a halt is devastating for the couples. So,
and surprisingly though, they've been really cool. And I don't know if it's just like the tone over email, but like they're super positive about it, because it's like they can't do anything about it. They can't be like, no, Corona, like in here, like that, there's nothing they can do. So they've been like super chill about it and super cool. And I've noticed that the other vendors too have been also very accommodating, because they understand there's nothing you can do. And excuse me, I've heard even some photographers that are charging to be put into the 2021 calendar. And like, I get it, but also like, I can't do that. Like,
there's like a line.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like, even I'm going to technically lose money for 2021 because I'm not going to be able to book certain weddings that were pushed from 2020 to 2021 now. And I only have a certain amount a year. I usually do about 20 to 25 a year, and that's it. Like, I have a cutoff, and there's no amount of money in the world that would make me like up that, just because for my own peace of mind, because I want to have like personal time. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. There was a point where I was doing weddings and events almost every weekend, and yes, it's fun, but when it's your third event of the weekend, it's not as fun, and it starts taking a toll on you. So you're going to have to kind of ride that line of like, how much can I offer right now and how much is responsible to offer right now?
Yes, exactly. And I always feel like the default answer right now is like, yes, I can do it. Like, no matter how tired I'm going to be, like, oh, I'll take a coffee, whatever it is. Like, I'll do whatever I got to do, because like at the end of the day, I have to be accommodating for them.
Yeah, especially because there is no rule book for what's going on right now.
I know, that's so frustrating.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. There's no like, hey, if you follow these steps, this is how you handle this.
Yeah.
And it really shows a lot about the business owners, how they go about all of the changes that are happening. For instance, like, I am going to be doing I was going to be doing a wedding. There's a different tense there now. And I got a text and they said, "Hey, like I have to change the date. It's either going to be August 20 something or October." I looked on the calendar. I was like, "All right, just let me know what happens. Let me know when, let me know where. Let me know if you want insurance for this one." Like, well, me to send the insurance. I already sent it, but we'll see if they're at the same venue. But like it's just going that extra step to make sure that your clients are taken care of.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's tough. And at first, I looked to other photographers and what they were doing. And some of them I really agreed with, and some of them I was like, maybe not so much. So I heard this one photographer say something that really resonated with me, and it helps me actually make my business decisions during the pandemic. And she said, when this is all over, what do you want to be remembered by? And how are your couples going to remember you and how you dealt with this? And I was like, boom, that every single question I had, I can relate back to that and I have an answer. So that's what I'm living by right now.
That's also essentially what I'm doing as well. That's why I'm making so much content. That's why I'm speaking to people like you, so that people can still get an idea of what's happening, how people are handling it, and just education on different topics, because you want to be remembered after this for how you handled basically this traumatic event that is happening to everyone.
Yeah, and afterwards, I don't think businesses or business owners rather realize like how much of an impact they're having on their business after this takes place, because there's businesses that aren't taking care of even their employees right now, and their clients, and you're going to be remembered, and people are going to be like, nah, I'm not shopping there. Nah, I'm not going there, because of the way they treated people. Like, and I never want to ever have that negative impact on someone.
Definitely. That is 100% like true, that some people aren't being taken care of right now, which is why we as like freelancers, as vendors, as business owners are the one, well, small business owners are the ones that are stepping up and helping. I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're totally fine. It's the quarantine getting to you. I swear the walls are like getting smaller.
Yeah, today I took like a rest day because I've been making so much content, so I'm like getting back into it. But what I was gonna say is I really admired the way that you stepped out in front of your audience when this started happening, and you made a story, basically saying, "Hey, I know that this is going on. I know this is crazy, and if you can't afford payments, you're not doing payments right now." And you're basically the message that you said. But I think it's really important that you took that step, that you got in front of your audience, that you were proactive on that, because there's some businesses that just went quiet. They didn't say anything. And that is very unnerving for both their couples, their clients, whoever it is. So I wanted to bring that up because it really did stand out to me, and I've been on social for days, weeks now.
I know, I always see you, yeah.
And I really think that was important. What made you take that approach to get the message out?
So at first, when everything went down, even though I had my predictions of how everything was going to go, I didn't want to put my predictions on people and make them feel the same stress that I was feeling. So I wanted to wait to see what was going to happen. So once I started to see that people were canceling and rescheduling weddings, that's when I was like, all right, I need to say something now. Like, this is the time. And I just felt like it was right. So after I sent my email to all of my April and May clients, I made that story basically saying, hey, for my other people out there, like, this is the deal right now. This is how I'm handling my business. And I wanted to be completely transparent because that's just the way I like to be. So it went over really well. It really did. And I had a lot of people take advantage of like the deferring payments and just changing their dates. They felt more comfortable because they knew that I was going to try my best to work with them. So, and it doesn't matter if your wedding is going to be changed to a Monday or a Thursday, like it's still going to be the most beautiful day of your life. So it doesn't matter the day of the week. Everything ends in Y. It's all the same.
That's a good point. And we have a comment here, and it says, going the extra mile in this crisis will put you in better standing in the future. Word of mouth is the best free marketing. So I really do agree with that. And That's from Jamos Photo. Is it Jamos? Jamos? I see you commenting on my stuff, and I love the support, but I don't know how to say your name on here. So one of the next things I want to kind of ask, and my friend Jenna just came on, so hi Jenna. What do you see for the future? Like coming out of this coronavirus quarantine, do you think that people are going to be a little bit nervous to go to events for a little while? Do you think people are all going to book them at once and it's going to be a big boom of like, hey, we couldn't do these communions, these sweet 16s, these weddings during quarantine? What do you, in your opinion, think?
So the biggest thing, I think, that people are going to stop putting personalized dates on their favors and anything on their wedding. I think that's going to be a thing. Just as like a safety. And just because of all the predictions right now about how it's going to die down, when it's going to die down, if everyone follows this rule, then it's going to die down. And then they're saying that there's going to be and then they're saying there's going to be a second wave. So we don't know. So I think that because even the weddings that may be scheduled in August, we don't know what's going to happen in August. But I think that because of what's happening right now, they're already going to have a plan B. And I even know some couples that have their weddings, let's say in August, and they have backup dates already. And I think vendors are going to be reaching out to couples ahead of time and scheduling those backup dates because they're also losing money too. And they need to also be accommodating to couples. But in terms of like, I don't know, like 10 years down the line or something, I don't know. I still think it's going to be that stupid date thing. I don't think people are going to put dates on anything.
I have a question that just popped in my head, and I want your take on this. But I do agree with what you're saying, and I do think that there might be a bit of a contingency plan until people are comfortable, like this is going to be the date for things, just in case something else were to happen. What do you think this is going to do to durations of being engaged?
Ooh. And like,
do you think it's going to affect it? Like, as in, like, I get engaged tomorrow.
Oh, that's so soon. Oh my goodness, congratulations.
Not funny, but like my point is, like, if I got engaged tomorrow, am I going to wait 2 years for the existential date that we don't know what's going to be happening? Like, that's do you think it's going to affect that? Because I think that it may, because some people might be like, you never know what's going to happen next May. Maybe it's not a time to wait.
So I really think it's going to depend on everyone's perspective. Whereas some people use their engagement as like almost like that trial period, you know, where it's like you get that free trial period and you want to use that free trial period, you know? So some people might think of it like you're saying, and they're like, oh my God, what if we have another pandemic? Go. Like, we're booking the wedding tomorrow. That's it. Or maybe we'll even have a lot more, just because people that are still having their weddings right now, they're doing it virtually too. So there might even be some, what's the word that I'm looking for, where you run away and get married.
Eloping?
Oh, yes, elopement. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I only do this for a career time. So there might be more elopements, whereas you go with just your future spouse and you go get married and then you go have the party at another date. I think that might happen in the future because it's solidified. Yeah.
That, and I think that with maybe coming right out of this, people might be interested in live streaming to people that can't get there or people that aren't comfortable getting there. So like if you had a wedding in August and someone said, hey, like grandma and grandpa still shouldn't, like, is nervous. Oh no, Erica left. Erica, hop back in if you have a chance. There we go. And adding you back in. She disappeared on me. She's coming back.
Sorry,
where'd you go?
I'm sorry, I'm here, I promise.
It's okay. Well, where I was going with that is maybe people will start live streaming to accommodate the fact that maybe they're only allowed to have 50 people at their wedding right now.
And I'm actually surprised that, I know people actually live stream from their phones a lot of the time. Like someone in the family, great Aunt Sue is going around with her phone. She's usually the one trying to cover my camera with her phone.
Oh, yes.
But I digress. it's those people that are like airing it for people in other countries that can't be there, or for grandma and grandpa. But I'm a little bit surprised that it's 2020 and we're not live streaming more of these weddings. Like, especially because they are so expensive, and that you want everyone and their mother there, but sometimes you can't afford to have 250 people at your wedding. Like, it's expensive. So maybe it'll open it up as a financial savings too, like a way to just.
That's a good point. As you know, I live stream. I have a live stream set up right here in front of my face, even though I'm using my phone.
I remember the grand tour. I loved it.
But yeah, that would be an interesting way to market that, especially right now. Like, hey, like, we don't know what's going to happen. You might not want to pay for 200 people because you don't know if they can physically get there. If you have 75 people and broadcast out to the rest, I mean, that's a big difference in people.
Yeah.
But you get where I'm going with that, because
Yeah.
then it keeps people engaged. The one thing that like would be weird is like they're watching but they can't comment directly to bride.
There's gonna be something that comes out though. There's going because during this time, like, this reminds me, this is forcing us to do things that they're making us come up with alternate solutions. Whereas they're putting a blockade right now, whatever's happening is putting a blockade in the middle of the road, but we still need to get to our destination. So right now we're going to be so innovative, and there's going to be things that come out that we didn't even think of before because we never had to think about it. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this and how it changes, because I feel like the world needed a shakeup too. And I know maybe not a global pandemic, but you know what I'm saying? But I think that this is going to make everything more innovative, and it's going to change the face of everything. Like, even education right now, I'm teaching completely online. Like, it's crazy. I never thought I'd ever do that. So it's going to change everything. And as much as it sucks, I am so excited, because it's going to bring about such incredible changes that I think we need.
I agree. And basically the way that I've been thinking about it is very similar. You said a blockade, but I want to use the analogy of, like, you're in a box right now. You're literally in a box.
That's what it feels like.
You're in a box, and it's just like as if you were given a challenge. You have to figure out everything from within the box, within the resources that are in your creative box.
It's like an escape room.
Kind of, but basically, instead of just escaping, you need to be creative, and you need to use that creativity to be productive, to keep yourself going, to do all of these things that you would typically do from where you are.
Yes.
So it's really interesting. And I've noticed, and I'm not sure if you've noticed this as well, there's been a lot more networking.
Yes.
Like, whether it's people that you know or people that you don't know that reach out, since everyone is forced to be home, I've made more connections than if I was just walking down the street and random people are like, oh, you do this thing? I'm like,
well, because it's hard to, like, advertise on the street too, because
you know
what I'm saying? Like,
or like a networking meeting or whatever.
Yeah. And I'm always, like, hesitant to bring up what I do to people, not because, like, I'm not proud of it, just because, like, I don't like being, like, even this for me is, like, kind of weird, because, like, I don't like being, like, that center of attention kind of thing. So this gives me a better way to, like, voice what exactly I want to say and have that audience too to bring it to.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that the fact that certain people are coming out and talking and creating that dialogue is super important. And I know that we touched on that earlier. And I'm glad that you were able to hop on here and do this, because you are a very, very talented photographer and videographer, and I love your work.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've seen your work from a distance. I've seen you working on both the bridal party side and while working with you. So the many sides of Erica.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
I know. I feel like I have multiple personalities sometimes.
Well, there's teacher you, there's photographer you, and then there's the photographer you're working with who is doing damage control side.
So always something.
Definitely. So I know that we've covered a few topics, but is there anything that you think it would be important to bring up around the whole weddings thing, the whole event industry, what's going on with Corona? anything you've experienced from having to do your home teaching that you think would be interesting for people to know?
Let's see.
Throw the ball in your court.
Well, I'm not surprisingly just like teachers. I feel like some people are like, oh, they get a break right now. It's so awesome. I'm a film teacher. Everything I have the kids doing is hands-on. And I don't give them books on how to do this stuff. Like, I'm a hands-on teacher. I will show you exactly how to do it, show you examples, have you talk to professionals, whatever it is. So I took all my lesson plans for the rest of the year and I threw them out the window. And I had to basically reinvent the wheel. And I'm on my computer from technically 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's when we have school. And then I don't stop working with school probably until like 3, 4 o'clock, sometimes later. Because I got like 140-ish students. Mm-hmm. So say I give 10 assignments each to them. That's 1,400 assignments that I'm grading. And I don't mm-hmm. It's not just like the typical like A, B. It's like you're putting comments on things. You're following up with parents and guidance counselors and case managers. And you're coming up with new content. And we don't know if we're going back to school right now. So mm-hmm. we find out April 17th if we go back to school.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, but then if we say, okay, we go back to school, then we have to create all new lesson plans to be in school. It's like it's so hot and cold right now, so we don't know where it's going. So, like, for me, that's my other side. And I think that people need to continue to be patient with their vendors right now because they also have other sides to them that they're trying to figure out in this coronavirus time. Mm-hmm. So, and they may not be a teacher, but they might be a parent, or they might do something else on the side. They might have someone that's affected by corona right now that they're trying to take care of. So you just don't know the full story. So I just hope everyone is like super compassionate during this time and very understanding. And also, like, keep calm, you know, like that's what I want to talk about too. And everyone's like super cool with like putting workout stuff on and like yoga videos and everything. And I love that. But I don't know if you've been doing anything that like keeps you zen, but do you have any tips for like zenness?
You're asking me about zenness? Do you know who you're talking?
I know, my energy drink specialist. Mm-hmm.
I've been like, watching Netflix. I've been sleeping. Previously, like, I wasn't getting full nights of sleep. I'm making sure to get enough sleep so that, you know, I can stay healthy because that really does affect your immune system. Mm-hmm. What else have I been doing? I've been making a lot of content. I've been being creative.
Like, you are awesome at it too.
Thank
You're
you.
Awesome. Yeah, sometimes I forget I've been stuff.
Well, if you see anything that you want to share with your class, just let me know. I'll send you the file.
Thank you.
But
mm-hmm.
I've been being creative because I needed to make some sort of semi-schedule because I'm used to running, not literally running, but like doing work. Mm-hmm. And I had to figure out a new normal. I don't feel trapped in my house because my house has my home office and my studio. But the thing is, like, little things that get affected are like your sleep schedule. Like, my sleep schedule is a mess right now. Like, I'm getting the sleep, but it's just not the optimal hours. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you take the time to make your meals and things along those lines and get all of your work done. It's just, it's a lot to put together. So I'm trying to build in that relaxation time into that, but it takes a little bit to figure out what works for each person.
Yeah, exactly. And this is new for everyone. So everyone has like a mini freak out, but then they finally get into their groove. So it does happen. It just sometimes takes a little bit longer. And I don't think you should judge yourself based off like how anyone else is doing their routine.
Definitely. That's a better lighting situation. I looked, I was like, I have a whole hotspot.
You're fine. You're fine. I feel like I'm holding it like an old man, you know what I'm saying? That's like, is this working kind of thing, but it's fine.
No, you're good on your side. So, I have one last question, just because I'm in New York and you're in New Jersey. What are kind of the restrictions in terms of like the gatherings and different things that you guys have been dealing with? Because I know in New York it was, you can only have this many, and now you can only have 50, and now you shouldn't have more than like 10, 15 people, and it keeps escalating like that. How has it been in Jersey?
So I actually, every single day, I listen to the governor speak because I'm not a baby bird and I don't get like information that's digested from other people and like the little things they want me to know. Like, I hear everything and I stay for the questions, so that way I anticipate what's to come. So right now, there's no gatherings of any kind. Like, three's a party here. Like, you don't you should even social distance from the people in your house, they're saying. So
Mm-hmm.
you should be having like that 6 feet apart thing. There's no events, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Some people continue to try to have events, so they're arresting people right now. They're also giving them tickets. For example, there was a gathering of about 50 people, I think 2 days ago, and it was for a party, and there were kids there. So they gave the guy many tickets, and one of the fines was for child endangerment.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really cracking down right now. When you go to the grocery store, there's no limit on how many people can go in, which is kind of weird to me.
I think they have that in New York because I was talking to someone that worked at Trader Joe's and they were only letting 35 people in at a time.
Yeah. So some stores are doing it. Some stores are like, it's a free for all. But when you go in, have you been to the grocery stores yet?
I haven't since I would say like I got back on the 15th, maybe the 18th.
Okay. So right now, it's kind of like a dance where you're going into the store and one person, like you guys are 6 feet apart, right? And then you move this way and the other person moves a foot this way. And then you move up and they move back. Like it's literally you're dancing every time you go to a store.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, and if someone coughs, you're like, but it's fine. So any other restrictions? Oh, we can't go out past like 8 o'clock. We're not supposed to be on the roads like at all. But only essential things like food and
Mm-hmm.
emergency cases. So yeah, that's right. I think those are all the big restrictions right now, but our numbers are going up and they're going to continue to go up so high because we don't have a lot of testing right now. Like,
Yeah, New York has more testing and that's why like the numbers are so high. And like where I am in Long Island, like it's right on the outskirts of like all of the hot zones because I had Christian Ladogowski on here, if you remember him from Hofstra, yesterday, and he is over in Elmont, Queens area, where that is the hotspot, the worst area. And yeah, so I'm doing my best to stay inside. Like I went for a walk the other day and like it was weird because every time I would come up to someone, I would walk into the street and then they would pass and then I can go onto the sidewalk. It's crazy up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys got the National Guard in really early too, where our governor just called it in as a state thing. So if you get the National Guard to come in as a state, 150 people, I want to say. But then if once you finally ask like the president, yo, can we get some National Guard up in here? Then he sends a bunch. So our governor waited and waited. And now we're going to start getting the bigger numbers rolling in because we just touched upon 18,000. But if you look at other states, like it's nowhere near New York right now. But like we're up there. We're up there. So
the crazy thing here though is like I know someone that like I'm pretty sure has it and she was told, hey, you have to wait for your number to be called.
Yeah.
Like you have to wait for your number to be called to get tested. And that could be today, that could be tomorrow, that could be next Thursday. You could be halfway done with like having it by the time you're tested. And it's so uncertain because of that. And it's also uncertain because you're supposed to quarantine from the time that you get that diagnosis or that time that you may have come in contact. But at this point, everyone's probably come in contact with it from some way, shape, or form. I'm probably going to get it from Amazon packages. Who knows?
And it can stay on cardboard for 24 hours, which is nuts too. But I know people that have it right now. I have 3 people that I know that have it, like, and they're close to me. So that's like a scary thought because I don't think you take it seriously until someone that like you really know gets it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't just like a conspiracy, like it's a thing. So I think that the more we take it seriously though, the more it's gonna stop. And like, yo, I still see people going over their friends' houses. Stop. Like, straight up, stop. Like, I know you're like, oh, I'm only going to that person's house. But yo, you don't know where that person went. You don't know who that person lives with, how many people they came in contact with.
How many other people are coming over at different times, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to get it because I was doing a conference in Arizona with doctors from around the country. And there were people dropping out, and that was the first week of March, and I was like, it's not real yet. Like, if it was a big deal, they would have canceled. They didn't cancel. So I was there, and then I came home, and then I went to Florida for a conference with travel agents from around the country.
Oh my God.
And I went to Disney. I went to Disney before it closed.
Oh, I can't.
I went to Disney on the Thursday, and then it closed on the Sunday, and I was, oh, no, the Wednesday and the Sunday, and I was like, I'm going to get this, and it's not going to be fun.
So
But
when you
thankfully, I'm
posted that
still okay.
photo, when you posted that photo, I was like, oh, it's just from a little while ago, from a few years ago. And I was like, oh my God, homegirl's there right now. Like, and I traveled Super Bowl. I traveled on Super Bowl. I went to Florida. And that's when I started noticing people wearing masks. And that's when I started to get a little bit nervous. But it was not like blown up yet. And when people started to take it seriously, and I keep saying this, it's when the NBA canceled their season. That's when everyone's like, oh my God, this thing's real. I feel like no one believed it until that happened.
Yeah, and we have a comment that said, I was certain that the Atlanta airport was a virus chamber. Yeah, coming back from Florida was interesting. Going to Florida and coming back, I just wanted my own row. So I went on the app on Delta and was just like, hey, I'm going to go in the back of the plane. No one's going to be there. I can take a nap.
Yeah.
Going there was fine. Coming back, whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to touch anything in the airport. I didn't want to touch anything on the plane. There were the stewardess all had masks on. They were wiping down every single thing that you can see, like in the plane and in the airport, which was crazy. And then the thing that like topped it all off was the amount of people on the plane. I was still in the back because I wanted my own row. I literally took a row where I had 0 people in the row in front of me, 0 people in the row behind me, and no one on the side. So I had like 9 seats just to like keep away from everyone.
That's nice.
But I was sitting there with my iPad. I held the iPad the entire time because I didn't want to put it on the tray table.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you know what also like kind of wigs me out now? It's like people you hear about like airports and airplanes and even the subway, like how much they're sanitizing. And you're like, wait a second. How much were you sanitizing before all this went down? Because I'm like, that kind of sounds a little bit more gross than we want to talk about.
I feel like the subway is pretty bad, but I mean, the one good thing about airplanes is their filtration system. The air actually comes from outside and it comes in through the top and goes through the bottom, supposedly. This is what I heard. But there's new air in there every like 3 minutes. But the problem I feel like is more so at the airport.
Yes, and I've seen some interesting characters. Very, very interesting characters in that airport. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I just think back to all the times that I'm like, oh, there's no seats. I'm going to sit on the floor with my stuff at the airport. And now I'm just like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best idea.
Yep, I know.
Who knows? The world's on fire.
Yeah.
Hopefully
but you know
not
what?
for long.
We're going to get through it. And I am like super hopeful. I'm like so positive that like for the future that it sometimes annoys people. But I know that this is
that's you're one of my favorite people. You're always so positive.
Yeah. I'm realistic but positive at the same time. But I really think that this is all going to change everything for the better. And it's going to suck right now. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's really going to. But as soon as it's over, the whole world is going to change. It's like having the internet all over again come about. Like, that's what it reminds me of.
That, and I think that a lot of old laws and stuff that were not helping with the times, I think those will be fixed as well. But anyway, we should probably wrap this up. So how can people, no, it's okay. How can people find you, and what's the best way that they can get following and in contact with you?
Hit me up on my Instagram, ELP Weddings, pretty please. If you DM me on there, I'm pretty quick to answer unless I turn into an old lady. I'm like, how do I work this thing? But that's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. I really recommend following her. She has a really cinematic, awesome shooting style for all of her photos, her videos. Of course.
Thank you.
And I love to see what pops up on there. So you guys should hop over there and give her a follow. Thank you to everyone in the audience for coming and spending some time with us, and thank you so much for being on. No problem. I'm going to be taking this live and leaving it up for the next 24 hours, but then I'm going to also put it onto my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find it on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. So
that's so intimidating.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy.
Oh
I'm working on getting this onto Apple Podcasts. So
big things.
I know. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. And someone says Erica is the best in the biz, and I agree.
I love you, Sherman. Oh, we love
Oh,
you.
Erica already knows this. Whenever the time is that I'm getting married, she's already booked. So
Didn't you say tomorrow you're getting engaged? Isn't that
I don't
tomorrow?
think that's happening, but but good memory. Anyway,
Thank you.
thank you for being on, and we are going to hop off. If you guys want to watch the live over again, it will be on my page. So have a good night. Goodbye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye, Celia. Thank
Bye.
you.